known as Team Luxury. Kabink there on the Tassadar Super, playing the Lumberjack Uther. Freezy on the Tychus Boss Floss, that is such a good Chen skin. And then finally Cinder there, playing the Jaina.
And on the red team, we have Tornado. In the middle, we have Erho on the ETC. Araragi just running up to the top lane on that Illidan at the moment. We have Kenma on Brightwing, Nick on that Malfurion, and Zuna on the Vala.
Yep, exactly the same setup for Tornado as they were last game. I'm going to start things off with a tri-lane in bot. We have ETC moving down. We have one scouting drone that is on the Malfurion. ETC going for the block. Brightwing going for the Arcane Precision. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but that's just me personally. I prefer either Bribe, especially on a map like this where you do have quite a few Merc camps, or those scouting drones, but they are laning the two supports in the same lane, so having one scouting drone down here is more than fine. As now the rotation coming down from Chen and Uther.
Yeah, as you can see down bottom lane, Boss trying to get in that gank, but it's not going to happen because of all those scouting drones. So that's where it really helps out to take that skill, so you're careful about not getting ganked. Down bottom, it's just going to be a push back and forth as Zuna and Kenma and Nick are putting the pressure on the side of Team Luxury.
Yeah, they certainly are. As we actually have a gank in this top lane going on to Freezy, Araragi and Erho. Nice roam coming up from the ETC as Tassadars move down to this bot lane. So neither team really missing too much in that mid lane for now, but it's going to be Tornado coming out on top there with that first blood.
Yeah, very good job getting that first blood. Down bottom, Zuna and Nick and Kenma actually did a seizable amount of damage to Boss. Zuna's taking a little bit of damage from the members of Luxury as they're in hot pursuit. Kenma taking some extra damage, but it's not going to be enough to get any sort of kill off as Boss, Cinder, and Supa end up falling back here to the push of Tornado. We do see in the middle lane that Kabink and Araragi is back at it again, as we saw in the previous match. Tassadar and Illidan, not much happens back and forth, a little push here and there, but pretty standard as we can see. And down bottom, it's just coming to that point where they're just constantly draining the ammo on the towers.
And usually you'd expect this to be the other way around. I mean, seeing a Chen in a tri-lane doesn't make too much sense to me. He'd be a lot more effective in that top lane, or even mid lane up against the Araragi, because he can just stand there, drink his brew, while Araragi just goes to town, not really doing too much damage, soaking those towers from their ammo and constantly pushing it. But instead, they are down here. The Tribute now spawning in the top lane, or towards the top side of the map. Erho still on full HP, and it's really hard to lane against an ETC as a ranged assassin, because at level 4, like 1 to 4 you can probably trade evenly. Level 4 is where Erho starts to come out on top on that ETC. The Echo Pedal does a significant amount of damage. It's more than people tend to expect, and then at 7 Erho just becomes an absolute monster in 1v1 duels. As now they're going to be just tiptoeing back and forth here, dancing a little bit of a waltz now, as we're 4 versus 5, but Brightwing can of course TP up.
Yeah, Cinder ends up going into the bush, takes a little bit of damage from the members of Zuna and Araragi. As you do see, as a pushback, Boss goes in on that jump, but he's not going to be able to secure any kills down. Cinder taking a little bit more damage from Zuna. As you can see, that scouting drone has been up this whole time, giving vision to them. Zuna has to back off, he's taken too much damage, and this looks like it's going to be in the favor of Luxury as they're going to secure this first tribute.
It is indeed, and they almost got the kill onto Freezy, which would have been an okay trade, but unfortunately they didn't. But whichever way you look at it, Kenma's been sitting in this bot lane soaking up XP, getting one tower, going to be getting a second soon, and that's evident in the XP bar at the top there. Level 6 to 5, with Luxury only just about to hit level 5. They've got a 3/4 XP lead, and the level 4 talents came in during that tribute, but Kenma's actually going to get engaged upon. Very unlikely they'll find the kill there, and they won't indeed, as Kenma rotating up towards the top lane, while Zuna has to rotate out. But it's tribute time again here, very quick one there. Although Tornado, they're going to have the upper hand, they'll have these level 7 talents, and there they are.
Yeah, this is going to be very crucial for Tornado as they go into this next tribute. We do see Zuna having to go back because he is very low. Freezy is up here. He's about halfway through. Are they going to be able to get him to stop? And they do, as Araragi does go in on that attack and stops Freezy from acquiring that tribute for the side of Luxury. And we can see just a normal back and forth, just trying to feel out how each team is going to be playing here as Zuna is finally up with the rest of the members of Tornado, and this is going to be a back off, and they're going to get this first tribute, so an even 1-1 so far on the Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, bit of a flashback there, but indeed 1-1. Jaina's been taking the role of that Kenma did last time, however, soaking this bot lane, trying to even things out rather than get a lead, as level 7 talents are in for both teams. There is in fact an engage in this mid lane, Zuna having to vault away, Erho getting out of there as well. But of course we have the Qatar hero, searing attacks for the Valor now, gust of healing for the Brightwing, first aid, battle momentum for Malfurion though. That's probably third choice on my list, as Erho does get caught up a little bit in that mid lane. Usually you see the Life Seed for Malfurion or the Elun's Grace, but instead going for the battle momentum, wants to get as much CC down as possible and as many heals out as possible. And Zuna again getting caught up a little bit there. And I'm not the biggest fan of battle momentum as well, on the basis that scouting drone has been taken. As we move into the late game, Nick is going to find himself suffering from quite a few mana problems.
Yeah, I personally dabbed into battle momentum on Malf once or twice just to test how it would come out, and you could really tell late game how the mana is. It's just so rough on it. I mean, you're casting additional because of the timing, but it's your mana just gets so low. We do have an engage coming out here. We do see Brightwing coming down on Zuna. Kenma coming in, doing a lot of damage to boss as they are starting to push Luxury out of this tribute, and it looks like it's going to be another tribute victory for the side of Tornado, as this is going to be their second one acquired at the 620 mark.
It is indeed, and they're going to go straight on to Kabink here, who uses the last of his mana. Uses Dimensional Shift, but he will get out of that one, as Heroics are very close to coming in. For both teams, they're going to hit level 10 at roughly the same time. And usually after a tribute by now, you would have seen one team maybe make a play for the boss, but haven't seen that from either one just yet. Want to play it safe, don't want to risk too much, as they're just going to soak up these lanes. As it's the Heroics for Tornado that are first to come in, and pretty standard already. Metamorphosis, Strafe, Tranquility from the Malfurion. Stage Dive should come in from the ETC, there it is, and I'd like to think Blink Heal from Brightwing, as Freezy does get polyed in that top lane.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Brightwing is going to end up picking here.
Bot lane.
Where it just turns into situational. We do see an engage coming down bottom. Cinder taking a lot of damage with that straight from Zuna and ends up going down, but we do see Erho coming down with that stage dive. And Boss, you are just in the wrong spot, sir, as you're going to end up getting taken down here when that Divine Shield falls off. Ooh, unfortunately, though, they're not going to persist with it. Nick's taking additional damage from the members of Luxury, and Nick is in a rough spot at the moment as he gets taken down. And unfortunately, next tribute is spawning, so this is a crucial point where you want to have your whole team available to fight.
It is, as Araragi already takes a significant amount of damage, and now with that laser drill coming down, they need to focus that one quickly. Zuna already taking a lot of damage. Metamorphosis coming in. That's hit 4 people. That's a lot of health Araragi gains back. They're going to focus down Kabink here, but they're not able to get onto him, so it's looking like Super has now become the focus. Araragi having to back out of that one. Erho as well. Low on mana, both him and Zuna, as Erho gets out of that one. But he will unfortunately fall. Brightwing tried phase shifting in, but unfortunately couldn't get there in time. Now moves to the mid lane to keep Zuna topped up. And they're going to try and push and apply some pressure on the mid right now. But 2 for 2. Next tribute decides the curse.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nick did end up dying at the crucial point when the tribute was about to spawn. Now, I know there was a member of, I believe it was Jaina, that was killed in the bottom lane, but she had enough time to her timers to count down to the trip to spawn, so it was just kind of worked out in their favor for that. But unfortunately, Nick did go down as soon as it kind of popped up, which hurt them in the end. But the game's not over. Still, it's 2-2 for the tributes. We do see Araragi just kind of playing around with that bruiser camp, while up top they are working on their golem.
They are indeed, and by now you'd like to think that Luxury would know something about this. They'd have an inkling and maybe rotate towards their own, but instead they know nothing up until now, where it does get capped, and there's a big red dot on the map saying that there's a boss walking down towards your top lane. Freezy could be the target for this one, but in fact Tornado, they're just going to clear this wave out and then push themselves alongside the boss on towards these towers. That's one tower down already. That's now Cinder coming in. Does get a Blizzard down onto Kenma, but the two supports there, they can keep themselves topped up quite efficiently.
Now it comes down to the point, do you defend or do you go for the trip? And at this point it looks like Boss is just going to try and poke while the members of Luxury try and defend this with the Golem. Is Nick going to have enough time to get in here and take this tribute? And it looks like, yes, the first curse of the game is going to go in favor of Tornado, as Luxury is now cursed, and they have their sights on pushing as much as they can with this Bruiser camp in the middle.
Yep, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see them make a rotation down towards the boss anytime soon, but it might look like they'll grab this for... Or in fact, they might just dodge away from a fight here. RO4 wants to commit, so does Zuna. Urho and Nick a little bit more reluctant with this one, as the 13 talents again are in for both sides. We've got a double shrink ray, meaning that it's either going to be 2 shrink rays going down onto Illidan, one after the other, or we could see one on him and Valor, reducing the damage by quite a bit. Elsewhere though, on the talents, Brightwing taking the sprint, same for Jaina. Lead Rain, Overkill applies a stacking slow, going for a little bit more CC there with the Tychus. Illidan going for the 6th sense there, so much damage, great against the Jaina. Ice block on the Malfurion, he's been in a little bit of a rough spot every now and then. Frost shot of course for the Valor and Uber Rockstar, pretty standard there for ETC.
Yeah, standard around the block for the heroes at the moment. While the curse was going on, we do see that Luxury went down to secure their boss. They wanted to play it safe and make sure that Tornado couldn't get in there and actually steal at some point. The curse does do some significant damage, as it does take the outer 4 up top, mid lane, and bottom completely out of the situation. So, looking very positive for Tornado, as they have more structures taken down at this point. They need to defend and make sure this Golem cannot do the same to them, as Luxury is trying to set up something here, as they might be trying to come down here.
Yeah, they're setting up something here. Super, though, gets spotted out. Could just be an elaborate bait, but Kenma checks that one with his Q. Spots that one out, and Cinder being forced to use Sprint already here could give Tornado a little bit of a window to try and engage something here. Maybe force something. I'm surprised we haven't seen Urho split up from the rest of the team just yet, considering he does have that stage dive, and they could try and win that race to level 16, as they've been the first to hit 15 here. Looks like they're going to go for what's been coined a classic League of Legends style play here, and that's the 1-3-1 split push.
Yeah, I mean, we have Zuna, Nick, Araragi, they're in the middle lane, and like you were kind of saying about Arrow, why isn't he kind of solo laning at the moment with that stage dive? But he ends up going up top, and that's exactly what he wants to do. They need to get level 16 before this next tribute phase, where the next major objective pops up, because if you have that talent choice, especially at 16, it's going to turn into your favor very, very well. So we just see the members of Tornado rotating in the lanes, trying to get that final little bit of experience. And how it looks at the moment, it looks like Tornado is going to be projected to hit 16 first. And it's interesting, are they going to try and fight at this Bruiser camp knowing that they have the talent advantage?
Looks like they're just going to maybe bait this one out. Super, so close to checking. They're going to make Boss Floss be the first to check. He gets CC'd, but then the Wandering Keg comes out, and that's just for pure escape and zoning. They know that's down. That's a big, big heroic down now, as Jaina's racing towards that tribute, but we could see Urho maybe stage dive in here. Right now, just let Urho finish this one off and let him do the work to interrupt. Meanwhile, Kenma still providing a lot of pressure down here. This is why Brightwing is one of my favourite supports. But Valor could be here within Frost Shot range, and she is. Gets the interrupt. Here comes the stage dive, and the fight has begun. Urho jumping straight onto Cinder here. Strafe being used in the backline. Boss Floss again getting snared up here. Urho slightly split, but the Tranquility doing enough damage. They need to focus down this mining laser. Araragi going deep yet again here, but he could get taken down, and he uses that evasion, helping him out with the 6th sense. Still alive somehow. Nick now coming around to try and heal him up. Cinder is going to be the next one to fall, it seems, as Kabink is also split off. Freezy next to go down, and that's exactly what Tornado needed.
Yeah, Tornado played that very, very well. And I saw at the end there that Jaina was trying to secure the kill on Aragi, and I mean, it was just way too much at the end. It just wasn't what they needed to do. There was a lot of splitting going on by the members of Luxury, and it just didn't turn into their fight. And Like I said, I mean, now they have that upper hand for Tornado where they're stealing their bruisers, they're stealing their golem, and they're gonna get this push.
Yeah, and not to forget as well that the bottom boss on the side of Luxury is up in 1 minute 30, which could be another point of contention for the side of Tornado here. They know they have a lead, and if they can push that even further by securing this boss, because we already had Kenma do a significant amount of push damage down in this bot lane, having the boss down there as well would do such great work for them. But they're going to need to defend yet another tribute. And again, with this advantage, it should be rather easy for them. The stage dive is up in 3 seconds, but Aho's just going to walk here. And Luxury, they're giving this one up. They need to defend this top lane.
Yeah, Tornado has this. They're going to get the next tribute. They, you know, on the side of Luxury, they can't do much because they need to defend these waves. They have top lane pushing with the golem. They have this bruiser camp slowly making their way to mid lane. As you can see, we do have members of Tornado starting to do a lot of damage, taking these towers and the gate down. So overall it hurt Luxury. They were preoccupied with other things that they had to defend and couldn't get to that tribute, which slipped away. We do see Boss kind of staying on the persistence with Kenma. Kenma's going to get away, no problem. We do see Zuna up top, though, trying to be sneaky and take this siege camp. I wonder if they're going to allow it.
Looks like they're not. They did get one of them down, but Boss Floss going rather aggressive here. Oho is there to just act as a man shield, but this boss now in this bottom lane has spawned. Kenra is going to get a good push off here, and straight away we see Tornado looking to push out this mid lane, and then they might rotate behind here, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. And then straight away they rotate back up.
Yeah, I mean, tribute just spawned. So we have Boss on bottom camp, that is actually Luxury side. We do have Tornado up top. They're going to be going for this tribute because it is 2-2. We do have Brightwing down bottom lane. Kemba is in a rough spot and does end up getting taken out of the fight. But that's going to be okay because Curse is on Luxury and we see Tornado. They're going to push hard.
Yeah, they are. I feel like Kenma could have potentially tried to phase shift out of that one as soon as he spotted Tuster, because their only CC able to interrupt a phase shift would have been the Tychus Grenade or the Uther Stun. So he could have gone for that. It would have been risky, but like he would have either A, phase shifted out, or B, suffered the same fate that he already had done. But they have now picked up 2 keeps, so they won't mind the death too much, and they can probably go and easily defend that boss down in the bot lane. The keep is still there, untouched. They also have the tower, so that boss shouldn't deal too much trouble.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough for Tornado to sweat anything major about it. They still have a lot of their outer forts still up, still ready for the battles. And even though Kemma did go down, it just worked out in their favor because, like you were saying, 2 inner keeps are completely destroyed. Very good job from Tornado. They're going to rotate down, defend this, and group back up and get ready for the next fight that should be engaging. We have Boss in the bottom, back up in another 4 minutes, and up top on their side, about a minute and 40 till that is back up. So it gives us a little bit of time for just a laning phase, as you could say, until the next major objectives pop up soon.
Just look at the amount of Blinks or Bolt of the Storms that have come out. We have 4. Now I can understand ETC, I can understand Valor. I'm surprised Brightwing didn't take it as well, but Illidan, I feel like Demonic Form is really, really good, and as is Nexus Blades, especially against a Jaina and a Tychus, whose escapes aren't exactly brilliant. If Illidan's able to get onto that back line, get the slows off with those auto attacks, he can deal so much more damage, but instead he's going for the Blink, and Malfurion also going for that safety net in the Bolt of the Storm, with only Brightwing going for the Storm Shield.
Yeah, 4 bolts. Interesting. I want to see how they're going to end up using this in some of the team fights. We were saying there's some better opportunities to take for each of the hero, like you were saying with Illidan, with Metamorphosis or Nexus Blades. So it's interesting to see how they're going to work with this, as we do see Tornado kind of working up here to the bottom lane, trying to push these lanes back. Zuna gets out a little bit, takes a little bit of damage, but it's not going to be much as Kenya is right there healing her back up to full. And this is just a standard defend, as Luxury it has to stay behind their forts, behind their keeps, their towers, to secure a kill in here. Boss goes in with the barrel roll, but is it going to be enough to secure anything? Aragi comes back out with that bolt. Nick is ice blocked in that Malfurion. A lot of damage coming out from the laser behind enemy lines. Erho taking damage also, but it's going to still keep him alive. Aragi goes into that fight, goes into the gauge. Metamorphosis goes down and hits at least 4 of them, and we do see Chen just getting melted there at the end as Supra gets melted also, but Divine Shield's going to help him out in the end. But is it going to be enough to escape as Erho is still on the pursuit? And unfortunately, no. So this fight is going to go to Tornado. Are they going to have enough to end, though? Not at this point. If there was more members of Luxury being taken out of the equation, out of the fight, possibly. But being that it's a 4v5 at the moment, I don't think they're going to actually go in for the win.
Yeah, no, they're just going to back out, grab this tribute, grab their boss as well here, and it looked like Kenma was going to go back down into the bot lane to do what Kenma does best, but instead, just going to back, phase shift up to the rest of the team, take this boss, and then they could look to end with that. The enemy boss is up in again, 1 minute 30. But they could just look to end with the boss. They have this level advantage. They've been winning these fights. Their team comp's been working so great for them. Nick there backing for mana. We do have the level 20 talents, which we haven't really touched upon. Twilight Archon coming in for the Tacita. We have the Redemption for the Uther. The Focus Diodes increases the range of Draken Laser Drill by 50%, deals increased damage the longer it remains on a target. Now, if Illidan goes deep enough that he's always in range of that laser drill, it can be disastrous for Araragi.
Oh yeah, a lot of damage could be done to him.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So he needs to be careful if he's getting back in those enemy lines. Like you're saying, we do see that Tornado is just on pursuit. Boss gets caught in those entangling roots, and he's in a rough spot as just gets melted. Zuna doing his strafe at the moment, doing damage across the board. Erho in with that stage dive, and this is not looking good for Luxury as they are getting caught up by the members of Tornado. We do see Cinder very, very low. Aragi's going to stay persistent and try and do enough damage, but it's not going to secure the kill. Like you were saying, Haas, they're just going to use the golem and go for the win.
Yeah, the core now on 50%. It looks like Tornado are going to be moving on to tonight's final. There it is. The core has exploded. GG to Tornado, but it was a pretty good fight that Team Luxury put up, but they only got 2 tributes that entire game. They hit that magic 2 number when they needed just 1 more, and then they just couldn't. Tornado had complete control of the map from there on out.
Yeah, at that 2 install, pretty much the whole rest of the game where they just couldn't get in there and acquire one. Again, very good job from the side of Tornado as they move on to the finals, and unfortunately Luxury is going to face it out for 3rd place. I'm not sure if we have a winner of the Kappa Wolves and the other team. Just to go over some stats of this last game, we did see that Tornado ended up getting 9 kills over 3 to Luxury, and overall damage, we do see that Zuna, again, pumping out that damage on Vala as usual. She is a strong damage dealer, about 60,000 damage, and we do have Kenmo with those superior heals, not to mention Nick also pumping out those heals, so very good job from the side of Tornado.
Yeah, and this is why, like, people who have heard me cast before, people who know me, I was an avid Brightwing player. She's probably